You're listening to The Bird Bath. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Top story for us this week is Inspire Veterinary Partners flirting with delisting on the NASDAQ. So the last week, IVP received a letter from NASDAQ telling them that they were non-compliant with a minimum trading price after being consistently trading for under $1 for over 30 days. Now, this is a story we've gone around and around and circled the drain on for quite a while, but IVP had consistently and steadily fended off the delisting. They utilized multiple reverse stock splits. They brought in additional capital through some unique funding strategies and never fully got the delisting notice, but this last week they did get that notice. Now, what they do have, and they did take this advantage and opportunity as well, was to file an appeal with NASDAQ to fend off the full delisting. They were scheduled to lose the ability to be traded and be delisted at the time of recording here, which was Monday, November 24th. But because they filed an appeal last Friday, they're able to have that appeal approved and get some additional days to prove to NASDAQ why they should continue to trade. So last week, they saw a very, very tough week in the numbers as people bought short positions, people set up some additional things. Now, the penny stock traders on Reddit were trying to run a Save the Puppies campaign or Pump for the Puppies, which did increase, or across a lot of other reasons though as well, did increase the trading volume. But as of close on Monday, the stock was just trading at 16 cents per share, well below the $1 requirement and quite a distance off from the $10,000 per share that it would have been at post reverse stock splits, the multiple of those. So very, very tough time for IVP. We're going to see what that means, what the regulators say. As of now, it is not in a suspended status, but it is listed on the NASDAQ's website as a non-compliant company due to their bid price deficiency. So we'll continue to see that. I obviously stay up to date on this regularly, and hopefully we'll see IVP rally and bring this together. But their options of cards in the deck are starting to get slimmer and slimmer. The LatinxVMA is calling for an independent review of the NAVLE and ICVA. Now, the NAVLE, which most of you, if not all of you, are aware of, is the licensing exam for veterinarians, and its administrator, the International Council of Veterinary Assessment. Both are kind of in the crosshairs, but in a positive way by the LatinxVMA. The LatinxVMA has publicly asked the AVMA board to back a third-party audit of the NAVLE. They wrote a great letter that they published with Vet Candy, and in the letter, they stress the fact that it's not an attack. They're pushing for transparency, fairness, and psychometric clarity. The concerns that they're talking about through this are concerns around potential cultural bias, accessibility issues, and opaque scoring. In the letter, the president of the LatinxVMA, Dr. Misty Vargas, said, as an organization advocating for Hispanic and Latinx veterinary professionals, we consistently hear from students and graduates who believe that aspects of the NAVLE may disproportionately disadvantage underrepresented groups. whether these perceptions reflect actual structural issues or a gap in communication. An objective evaluation by an independent auditing body is the most reliable way to address them. So the message with all this is basically saying if the exam is fair, an audit will prove that. If it's not, let's fix it. It's all about rebuilding trust as a way to be able to allow as many people to be able to take a test that's fairly and cleanly administered, no matter what their cultural background is. So great story here. Lots of support for the LatinxVMA to add additional transparency in it. This isn't a new thing, though. This is something that we've seen for the licensing board for human medicine. They undergo audits to make sure that there's not cultural bias or linguistic bias or things like that. So being able to see this come together with the NAVLE would be a big win across our industry. Now, it ties in some ways to the story we talked about last week about Tuskegee University, which is the only veterinary college within the historically Black colleges and universities. Now, the team at Tuskegee, in the letter that they sent about their accreditation to the AVMA COE, talked about some differences in treatment and the way that they felt that they were being evaluated in the accreditation process. So multiple different organizations and groups here are asking and raising their hand, asking for equal and fair treatment with an understanding that cultural backgrounds and cultural differences cause people to view questions and accreditations and standards in different ways. So an independent audit is a wonderful way for us to be able to see these things stabilize and rise to the top. Animal Health International, which is a company under the Patterson portfolio, has announced that it has acquired Red Book Software. It's a Colorado-based software company that specializes in cloud-based financial operating for feed yards. And I know what you're thinking, Ryan, this is mostly about VetMed. But you know what? The important thing here is understanding, first off, that Red Book is a strong, large growing business in the animal health side of things. And it's joining a really cool platform. I remember back in my first PIMS days with Hippo, we actually sold an instance of Hippo to a state fisheries department. And the need to try and jerry-rig the process there to allow to the PIMS to account for an individual animal to be thought of as an entirety of a hatchery, and all of those things that happened there was crazy. So it's interesting to think about Red Book Software and how they're tackling the differences of understanding of cattle movement, size, health, weight, inventory management, and when you think about feed animals, you're not talking about inventory exclusively in the pharmaceuticals or medications or gloves or consumables on hand, but you're also talking about the food that you're feeding those animals, as well as the inventory of the actual cattle. So the feed yards are a very interesting thing here. Red Book is joining a collection of other softwares within the Animal Health International portfolio. They offer a full accounting and financial package. They have an animal management studio and a feed additive machines under Animal Health International. So the goal here is to increase the technology portfolio that the Patterson companies are able to provide. And Patterson, meanwhile, though, has quite a few other softwares in their portfolio. They've got Navitor and Intravet on the PIMS world. And on the dental side of things, they've got EagleSoft, as well as a myriad of multiple imaging softwares under the dental portfolio. So this isn't something new, but it was interesting to see an investment and an acquisition, the first of its kind post takeover by Patient Square Capital for Patterson. I'm always sort of interested in these, and sometimes I broaden the scope a bit to look at animal health, because it is neat to think about how Cencora is looking at MWI and listening and other, and perhaps the potential to spin that out. You've got Covetrus divesting its equine with Smart Equine and Smart Pack system over to Chewy ramping up its equine side of things. And now you have Patterson adding in an additional technology layer here to strengthen its foothold within animal health. So a lot of interesting things. I know it's sort of tying some strings to some different dots here, but it's one that I think is important to understand, that these technology investments are still happening by really large companies in our space. Finally, if you are amongst the more than 90% of pet parents that include your pet in your family holiday traditions, PetSmart has just the thing for you. PetSmart's Photos with Santa program is returning December 13th and 14th. Pet parents nationwide can create joyful memories, and they can share moments with a free Santa photo. It's open to all kinds of pets, dogs, cats, and other small pets. So if you're looking to add your pet to your family Christmas card or holiday card or any sort of greeting you want to put out there, be sure to go by PetSmart December 13th and 14th to have a photo with Santa. I know, again, another tangent, but it's a holiday week, so I'm feeling a little nostalgic here. My daughters have been unpacking every single Christmas box under the sun, and they found a box with all of our old Christmas cards that my wife and I sent out for a long time. And the fun thing about those was to see the pictures pre-kids of Walter and my dog Rosie, and seeing them grow up, and then the introduction of kids and the addition of the puppies' pictures getting a little bit smaller in each one of those annual photos, but still on the card. So really cool to see. So if you do want to get some of those pictures, mark your calendar, December 13th and 14th. Now, this week is always a fun one. It's Thanksgiving. I hope everyone is going to have a spectacular time. The following week, I will be hitting the road and going to Pet Connect USA in Los Angeles. It's a wonderful event. If you haven't had the chance to sort of understand better that unique difference between pet care and vet care, it's an event that I always enjoy and encourage people to participate in. If you go out there, make sure to use the code BIRDBATH10 to get 10% off your tickets, and be sure to say hi while you're out there. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. And for more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to our Substack. There's a link in the bio, and don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For The Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.